Hello and welcome to the UCLA Bruins Insider Podcast. I'm your host, Andrew Ferguson, writer for UCLA and SI. Today we're going to be talking about UCLA's 71-64 win against Northwestern. There's a lot of things that went right, a lot of things that went bad. So we're going to kind of get into all those things. But first, before we get started, I do want to thank you guys for tuning in. It means a lot to me. But without further ado, let's kind of get right into it. UCLA entering this game is coming off a top 5 win against number 4 Purdue. So entering this game, we really thought that UCLA was going to blow the roof off of Pauley Pavilion, right? Everything was going in their way. They had a huge win, like I said. And now they're heading up against facing off against the worst team in the Big Ten. So what we saw a little bit of that team we expected. You know, the first half was absolutely golden for UCLA, but the second half, on the other hand, not so much. It was a really bad second half for UCLA, but we'll kind of get more into that. But starting off, let's go over things that went good for UCLA. I thought a lot of things went well for UCLA in this game. Most importantly, their defense. Their defense is really starting to find its stride. This is now 2 games in a row where UCLA has given up less than 70 points. Against Purdue, they had 68, 67, I believe, somewhere in that range. And now against Northwestern, 64. So what it looks like is UCLA is starting to show more effort on that defensive side, right? In this game, UCLA had, I believe, 26 defensive rebounds compared to 8 Northwestern offensive rebounds. So you could tell UCLA is starting to realize what their biggest issues have been this season. And that has been the second chance points, which UCLA won in this one, surprisingly enough. Again, Nick Martinelli heading into this game was on a 20-point streak where he was scoring, or a 10-game streak where he was scoring over 20 points in the Big Ten. So he is not a player you really want to mess with. And I thought UCLA handled him great for the most part. He did get 20 points, but he also did this on 8 for 19 shooting. So you could tell UCLA was starting to, figure him out. Prior to this game and against Purdue, UCLA had struggled against, those game-changing players. We saw that against Ohio State. We saw that against Gonzaga. Even Cal, Day Imes had a really good game. But still, UCLA is starting to figure out what is going on with their defense. And while, Northwestern isn't the biggest test of that, right? The Bruins needed to address this problem. Because, again, this was probably the worst defensive team Mick Cronin has coached his entire career. I mean, as a Bruin at least. But still, I really loved what I saw. I believe in the second half, UCLA's worst half overall, there was a 9-minute span where the only points Northwestern was able to score was off of free throws. And we'll kind of get into more about free throws and kind of what went wrong for the Bruins. But still, I thought that was just an impressive stat when you kind of take that into account. 9 minutes of a 20-minute half where Northwestern's only only points came from the line. You can't really replicate that anywhere else. That is something that UCLA can celebrate. This win as a whole, not so much, but still, that is a step in the right direction. And it looks like UCLA is really starting to figure out what is going on with their defense. And I love how they've addressed it. I think a big reason for UCLA's success defensively has been Xavier Booker finally playing consistent minutes. I believe in this one, he played 24 minutes, which wasn't as much as he played against Purdue, but still, he was very impactful in that one when it's all said and done. He had 8 rebounds. He didn't score as much, but still, we didn't need him to score that much. He was able to rebound, be that physical, presence in the paint. UCLA is going to win games. There's no doubt about it. Another thing that again, I'll kind of wrap me back on what UCLA did good in this one. Their first half shooting was second to honestly none. They shot 61.5% from the field and 66.7% from 3. They shot 9 threes and they made 6 of them. That is winning basketball, no doubt about it. And it showed in the the box score, right? They scored 41 points in that first half and held Northwestern to 31. That's exactly what UCLA needed, but they did not carry it into the second half. And that's kind of what enters us into the next segment, what UCLA did bad against Northwestern. Like I said, entering this game, momentum was riding on UCLA's hip. It could not have been, more lopsided when it comes into momentum. Obviously, Northwestern was coming off a USC win, but still, UCLA coming off a top 5 win, that is a turning point in any team season. But UCLA really did not show that well in this game. Like I said, they started off hot, but in the second half, that kind of sputtered. UCLA really struggled offensively in the second half. Like I said, what UCLA did good, I thought they had a great defense throughout the entire game, and that's why they were able to stay in this game even in the second half. The offense got so bad that it allowed Northwestern to eventually chip back and make this game a 6-point game with only 2 minutes left in the game. I'm saying game a lot, I'm sorry, but still, the Bruins really need to figure out what happened offensively in the second half. Obviously it doesn't help that Tyler Bilodeau didn't shoot perfectly. I believe in the second half, he went 1 for 5, and in the first half he went 6 for 6. That simply cannot happen if you're Tyler Bilodeau. We need consistent scorers. I thought Trent Perry also kind of took a decline in that first half. He went 1 from 5 for 3, still scored 6 points, but still, UCLA's numbers in the second half were down completely. They had they shot 37% from the field and 22.2% from 3. So that just kind of to show you like how black and white this game was. UCLA looked great, UCLA looked bad, but offensively something needs to change. There wasn't necessarily a single performance from this game where UCLA needed, but still, something has got to change for UCLA. It's consistency wise. This second half will not win you games, and they're lucky that this game came against a much inferior Northwestern team who had no business being in this game whatsoever. Another thing that I thought UCLA did really bad in this one was their shooting from the line. In this game, they went 11 for 21. They left 10 points at the line. And that really hurts. I'm kind of looking at like the main person who kind of contributes to that was Donovan Dent. He went 2 from 7 from the line. Again, just leaving points, at anywhere, right? It's not going to win UCLA games, and games are going to get closer, and those free throws are going to be big deciders, especially when we talk about what UCLA has coming up next. Michigan State, Illinois, Nebraska. Those are all teams that you have to make all your free throws because every single point matters. But yeah, that kind of rounds out what UCLA did bad. I'd love to hear what you thought UCLA could have changed to kind of make this game, more convincing in that kind of way. But still, the next point, I'm going to kind of highlight a few good performances from the Bruins in this one. I thought Trent Perry had an excellent game. Obviously, his second half wasn't as good as his first half, but still, it's going to be an interesting conversation again when Sky Clark comes back. We know what Sky Clark is capable of, but Trent Perry has shown he can offer that and be a more diverse scorer. So yeah, I thought Trent Perry played well. He made another great case on why he should be a full-time starter for UCLA, getting 30 plus minutes per game. Again, kind of looking down at UCLA's box score. Again, Xavier Booker played well, 8 rebounds, 5 points. Could have seen a little bit more scoring, but still, rebounding is all we can really expect from him. That's what we need him to be for UCLA. Eric Daly, again, another pretty solid outing. 11 points, had 8 rebounds in this one. Tyler Bilodeau, huge showing again, 18 points. He was 6 for 6 in the first half, so you can kind of put the pieces together on how this performance kind of got stunted in the second half. Donovan Dent, still kind of, it was not the same level of performance that we saw against Purdue. But again, I feel like he didn't feel like he needed to really have a good game against Northwestern. He didn't have a Braden Smith that he was going toe-to-toe with. So things like that kind of play into account when you kind of look at Donovan Dent. He's a competitor, and if that competition is not really showing up on the other side, he tends to kind of play at the level of his opposition. The bench, again, in this one didn't really make that big of an impact. I thought Jamar Brown was huge in this one. Outside of that, we didn't really see much from Jamerson, Eric Freeney. Brandon Williams didn't really have that good of a game either, but Jamar Brown really shined. He had 6 points, 2 for 2 from the field, 2 for 2 from field goal. He also had 2 rebounds, those passion plays that win UCLA games. Jamar Brown kind of showed that. His shots also came at huge moments where UCLA needed the points bad. And the fact that he was the player who had to step up kind of speaks very loud about the performance our starters gave us. But overall, I thought the starters played a very balanced game. Looking ahead, we do need to see more from them. But still, again, like I said when I was talking about Donovan Dent, I feel like they felt like they did not need to play at a higher level. UCLA all season has played at their opponent's level. Think back to Cal. They also did really good against, on the other hand, they did really good against Arizona. So we've kind of seen this theme across the entire year. Cal Poly too. UCLA let Cal Poly take the lead in the first half. But overall, UCLA still has a lot to prove before they are where they need to be. But I thought this game kind of helped in a way. We saw what they were capable of in the first half. They didn't really show it through the second half, but still, rebounding wise, I thought they did great. Defense did great. And those were really the 2 biggest problems for UCLA entering this game. And I thought they addressed them well. How they move forward, though, it was honestly going to tell or really show us what this UCLA team is about. Because like I said, they're entering one of the roughest parts of their schedule. They got Oregon coming up next at Oregon. So that game is going to be a much more difficult. Again, when they met up in the first earlier this season, UCLA was able to win. But again, there were a lot of factors that won't be there this next game. Take, for example, Nate Biddle. He was coming off of an injury in that one. He shot 0 for 10. Nate Biddle is not going to go 0 for 10 in this one. So again, UCLA needs to kind of clean up on things. Free throw shooting, that is just to name one of them. But overall, I thought this was a great game for UCLA. If you take away the second half, of course. But yeah, that's all I really have for today. I hope you guys enjoyed this podcast. I can't wait to see what this UCLA team will do to end out the season. But yeah, that's all it for me. Again, 4's up. I hope you guys have a great day.